I mean, I can't. I mean, when you were talking, I was just like, well, is it petty? Because I kind of feel that way when people are like, yo, TJ, yo, I support you. I was just telling Alan about the Instagram stories thing. Like, I posted some like late night post workout like selfies, right, to kind of more capitalize, me in fitness or whatever. And now, like, my Instagram stories in like a week was popping. There was a lot of people looking and messaging me and, oh, okay, you look great, blah, 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 all that good stuff, right? I appreciate that. But then I was like, all right, cool. Let me go ahead and capitalize on some of the, the little popularity I got. So I was like, yo, if y'all really want to support me, y'all go ahead and support the Soapboxx Podcast. Man, I tell you, it's the algorithm or whatnot, everything went back to normal on my page. I was like, oh, so I gotta hold myself out and then bring you in and then bring you out. So I'm learning the different algorithm. I don't know what the hell's going on, right? So, I consider that. I consider that fake love. Like, there's no way anybody can have an audience with me and say that they support me if they don't support this, like, because they know that this is the main thing I work on. You know what I'm saying? So I would have that attitude too, like, you support me, but
do you really support me? Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times, like if you use the soapbox as an example, it's like we're small right now, but if we started getting like mad hype from like bigger celebrities or like bigger people, and we just grew like crazy, then all of a sudden, like, people who've been watching you, people who you've been asking to follow you, who didn't follow you, all of a sudden they're gonna start coming around and they're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna follow you now, okay, I'm gonna support you now, because the hype is there. But before, when we were asking, or when I was asking you to support my little brands, and this is even people with small businesses, like when we were asking you to support my small business, you didn't want to, but now that it's getting major recognition and we're big, now you want to support it and now you want to like it. So I feel like, in a sense, like, yes, that is kind of fake love, but at the same time, like, people are just like different. Like, some people are like, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I can see where that could kind of feel like fake love. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
what say you, Alan?
So I mean, and I think it's a couple things. Like, first and foremost, rest in peace to AJ. I don't know how long was the turnaround between the time that she maybe had posted the link and when she had spoke out about it. But truth be told, I think a lot of it just is because of lack of awareness. Like, I'm not sure if his wife had much of a relationship with the public.
When you were talking, I was just like, well, is it? Hey, welcome to the Soapboxx Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Legacy, and of course, I'm joined with the best co-host that a host could ever ask for, the Soapboxx Family. What's good? We have a jam-packed show today, and we have a special guest, which we are going to get to. But first, let me introduce my co-host, all the way from Tallahassee, Florida, lady on the hill, reporter, journalist extraordinaire. What's going on, Just Giovanni? How are you?
Hey, y'all. What's going on? Everything is good. Definitely happy to bring in October.
Yes.
And start celebrating the fall.
Let's get it. And I see you got look like Versace. You got the drip on today.
Versace.
With the Versace. All right. Shout out to you. Hey, what's going on, lady from the north? What's going on? Jesse, what's popping?
What's popping? Feeling good. Happy to be here. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. And my man, 50 grand, all the way from NYC. Homeless millionaire himself. What's going on, Alan York?
What's the word? You know, I'm fresh from a nap, so my skin might be looking a little glowy. Man, I'm fresh. I'm fresh from the baby blanket. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here. It's a pleasure to be here. TJ, how you feeling, man?
Yo, man, feeling good, feeling great, feeling healthy, feeling blessed, and I am so happy as we are starting off. I want everybody for Soapboxx Podcast. Make sure you follow us, Soapboxx Podcast with 2X. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, on your streaming services. YouTube. We appreciate each and every one of you for rocking with us. But I wanted to introduce our special guest today. And I wanted to jump right into it. This brother, music producer, content creator, right? If you want to create content, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a YouTube channel, we had this initiative when we all got together, huddled up. We were like, look, we want to start doing some more innovative things with our podcast. And the best thing we can do is start giving a platform to more content creators, specifically more, content creators of color, Black content creators, because there's a huge network for it. So music producer, content creator, consultant, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Soapbox for the very first time, but not the only time, Mr. Eliseo Way. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? How y'all doing, man? We lit.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
I was trying to figure out, I was like, yo, when did we get sound effects? Like, we should talk like, right? Yo, this
I'm prepared. We dropping bombs, everything tonight. We good. We lit. Nah, thank you. Nah, in all seriousness, thank you for having me on your platform. I don't take none of it for granted. Listen, anybody out there in the audience watching, if anybody invites you onto their platform, obviously that's a immense sign of respect and just, for your art and your creativity. So, man, take it serious and don't take it lightly, and take the assignment, well, and do good to represent yourself on their platform. So I appreciate you inviting me to your platform, brother, and all y'all. Thank you so much.
Yo, we appreciate it, man. We are, as content creators, we are, in the game, but we understand that they say he who seeks knowledge begins with humbleness. So we are humble to know what we are humble to know early. We are humble to know what we don't know. And so to bring people on our platforms and in our various areas, whether it's hip hop, journalism, we're just interested to get to know you and what you're about and introduce you to the Soapbox Nation. I mean, I'm first going to ask you, what made you, because we know you were into hip hop, and we're gonna get to that. We'll get to that part. Yeah. But initially, what was your initial drive to say, you know what, I'm gonna be a content creator and get onto social media? Because everybody says they want to do it, but what made you want to really take it seriously? What was your tipping point?
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, let me just go back a little bit, and if I can be completely transparent, and I'm pretty sure all of you will agree, to be honest with you, the term content creator, that's new around these streets. Like the term content creator, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate the term. I appreciate the title. I appreciate that, because for so long, especially us being, I'm gonna take it there. So if I always say if I start sounding spooky, forgive me. That's just how I talk. But I look at us as being like Black queens and kings, and we just like geniuses in our own right.
Brother, you have the right platform for all that talk. Talk Black to me. Go ahead.
Talk Black to me. So with that being said, we're multifaceted, right? We have multiple different talents and gifts that we just innately have. Of course, that we fine tune those gifts and talents. But as far as creating content, I have, and you all have been creating content since you came out the womb, right? You've been creating some form of art or some form of creativity. You've been expressing yourself in many different ways. It's just as of recent, the world wanted to say, hey, well, we're going to call these people content creators. But I mean, content creation is really just documenting, right? Be it video, be it audio, be it writing, documenting something, whether it's your experience, whether it's your journey. It's just content creation is simply just documentation. Wow, that's bars. I got to remember that one. So that's the first time I ever said that. But content creation really is just documentation. So we've been doing that forever. Now, as it relates to more specifically to your question, you said, when did you want to take it serious? Well, when I realized that we all had intellectual property that people will actually pay us for. We all have that. We all have God-given intellectual property that somebody else looks to us and say, man, I need to know that. Okay, well, you need to know that. Okay, well, I can help you curve that learning curve. I can help you get to what you need to know a lot faster. And basically, that is where we make our way in this world, especially in the creator economy. It's sharing what we know, right? And then in return, just getting paid for that. So yeah, that's when I started taking it serious. And that was actually just a couple years ago. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna, instead of like a lot of people do, instead of spilling my guts online when I figure something out or I learn something, because we spend a lot of time learning stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys went to school, you done took courses, classes, you done sweated over exams and stuff, figure all this stuff out. But what so many people do is after they figure this stuff out, they spill their guts online. They spill their knowledge online. They spill everything they need to know online. They don't put their intellectual property in a way. They don't position it in a way that they can, or productize it in a way that they can get paid for it. And if we were to just make that little tweak, I know this might sound spooky. I always say that, but if we were to make that one small tweak and position and productize our intellectual property, it's a game changer. I'm talking about like game changer. So that's when I say, you know what, instead of me spilling my guts online, let me fall back a little bit and figure out my audience and figure out what people like from me and what they don't like from me, and try to like position that in a way that like people will pay me for it. And yeah, it works. Like, do you get that a lot?
Do you get that a lot when people, when you're talking about, I know you say, oh, it gets spooky when you talk like that, because there are a lot of folks who like me, I'm a measure 1,000 times cut once type of person.
Yeah, I get
concept, all those type of things. But are there times where you're consulting people where they're just like, you know, when you talk like, hey, you can make money for this, where people are kind of scared about, you know, monetizing their own value or recognizing their own value. So how do you get someone who is trying to be a creator to understand that, hey, you can monetize even at a beginner's level?
I got to go back a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah.
You invited the wrong dude to the show. I'm telling you this right now.
No, I got the right one.
Because I'm passionate about this. When I was growing up, they told me I had to go to school for 12 years in college. That was a lie. To make money, that was a lie. When I was growing up, my family fed me meat. They said, you got to eat meat to be healthy. And when I grow up, I figured out that was a lie. So I stopped eating meat. Like, I figured out all these things that I was taught over my life was a lie. They said, you got to eat 3 square meals a day. I only eat 1 meal a day because that's how I optimize my body. Three meals a day kept me diabetes range, heart attack range, high blood pressure range. So let me bring it back to how the economy, like how it should be, especially for creatives, right? So when people come to me and they say, man, Eliseo, you sure about that? You sure about that? I say, well, let's examine all these lies we've been fed all our life, right? So what if I told you, I feel like the dude on what's Matrix? I never saw the movie, but they have that meme where Buddy's like, what if I told you? Morpheus. Yeah. And I'll tell him, I have that. I got to see that movie because I always refer to him. It's like, what if I told you can get paid off of what you know? Right? Or what if I told you can make a good living off of what you're passionate about, right? And that's how it was. Like, that's what we have to get back to. So when people come to me like, Lisa, are you sure you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, I'm living proof of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and when I say spooky moment, all I mean is we've been conditioned so long to work for somebody else. We've been conditioned so long to punch a clock. We've been conditioned so long to build somebody else's dream that we can't even fathom our own dream, even though we go to sleep every night. Because all of y'all, I can look into y'all eyes and tell y'all bright people. I can tell y'all go to sleep every night thinking about the passion and the gift that God put in y'all, right? I can tell y'all go to sleep every night, wake up every morning, goal driven, and y'all are like, man, I got to make this happen for myself. So why do we, as so many times as people, sacrifice our own life force and our own intellect for somebody else? So, I mean, yeah, when people come to me with that, I give it to them blood raw. Like, listen, yes. Now, will you make the sacrifice to do that? That's your choice. But as far as it being a possibility and completely plausible and completely doable, yes, that's already been proven time and time again that you can get out here and make your way with something and just build your community and make a lot more money than you would make on somebody's job. Absolutely.
Oh, appreciate it. Yo, as we said, we're dropping gems today. Everybody who Soapboxx Nation, if you're following us, make sure you follow us. Soapboxx Podcast with 2X. We're going to get more with interviewing Eliseo and making sure we get his origin stories, talk about content creation. But first, just say, want to get you with what's popping with you. You muted. Mike.
I did that. I know I did that on purpose. I was testing you to see if you paid attention.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's popping. There's a few things popping. First of all, today is International Podcast Day. So I do want to, yes. So I do want to shout out all our viewers, all our supporters, people who have been rocking with us from the beginning, people who are rocking with us now, people who tune in every Thursdays or watch us, people who come on the show like Eliseo, like shout out to everybody. And even like not small people, oh my gosh, I'm so bad with my words, but like small like small podcasts like us who are trying to make, make a name for themselves. And shout out to them because it's not easy. It's not easy trying to grow a podcast platform, and it's not easy to be dedicated. So keep on your grind, keep doing what you're doing. I'm so happy that we have an amazing team behind us. So yes, I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that, but today is International Podcast Day. And me, first and foremost, I am so grateful to be on this podcast with amazing people.
Appreciate it. Alan, you got anything to add?
I understand that I kind of like issue gratitude to you guys pretty often, but I do mean it. We are over 100 episodes in, and everyone knows who's tried to create something on any level understands how hard doing anything 100 times is. So the fact that we've made it this far is truly a testament of our dedication, our passion, and I just appreciate and thank you all for being on this journey. I do sometimes joke around with people just because I see this a lot. People think that podcasting is easy. People think that because they talk a lot, they should have a podcast. And I want to discourage you from that. Don't start a podcast because you talk a lot. Don't start a podcast because you and your friends have really interesting conversations and you think that everybody should hear it. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. Make sure if you want to start a podcast is because you are interested in journalism. Yes, of course, you have to have a voice and interesting stories, but just talking a lot is the extreme bare minimum of having a podcast. So shout out to my fellow podcasters out there as well, because we completely empathize and understand what y'all going through. So thank y'all to the audience. Thank y'all to my teammates. And thank y'all to the future podcasters as well that's going to come along. And I'm just joking. Start that podcast if you want
to. That's what's up. I wanted to, Jay, you had something to add? I saw you. Okay. Yo, Eliseo, I wanted to ask you, when Alan, I want to touch on what Alan said, where he said, it's not easy. And you alluded to it as well. Like, what is your advice for, people who want to be content creators or want to express themselves on YouTube or a social media platform, but they may not get all the likes. They may not get all the views. Like, what is your keys to success when it comes to creating your own platform or really building your own brand?
Yeah. So just kind of going back to the earlier part of that question, she was like that they may not get all the likes or may not get all the views, right? Mm-hmm. And so, to me, that falls into vanity metrics, and vanity anything is not good, right? So, well, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? And that's just me. So what I mean by that is that people come to me all the time, at least, well, nobody's going to watch me, or at least nobody's going to support, at least nobody's going to be on the line. And I tell them, well, let's really examine that. That is the exact perfect time to start. That is the exact perfect time to perfect your craft. That is the exact perfect time to be authentic and really talk about what you want to talk about and include your nuances, your idiosyncrasies, your raw personality into that. And you will be surprised how when you really just get in the zone and be yourself, don't worry about the views and the numbers. And you'll be surprised when you look up how many people are watching and how many people are actually supporting. So don't ever let vanity metrics or views or likes do anything to at least to your creativity, because that's the trick. Don't fall into that trick. That would be my advice. Don't focus on vanity metrics. Focus on your mission, your purpose, your goal. Focus on your message. We have a unique opportunity right now in the world, and that's a different little topic, but I do want to touch on it. We are living in such a very unique time in the world, and I always like to use this analogy that the internet is new. And people will be like, what do you mean? No, the internet is new. The internet is younger than all of us on this podcast right now. Probably. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. The internet is younger than most of us on this podcast. So we're older than the internet. So you know how many people wish they would be living in our time right now in 100 years? They'd be like, man, I wish I was living back in 2021. Man. They had it made back then just to start a podcast, start a live stream show, a YouTube channel. Like, you think it's oversaturated now, and the whole world not even on the internet right now. I think it's only like 60-70% of the world is on the internet. Just imagine when the whole world get on the internet. You think it's saturated now. So yeah, don't worry about numbers. Don't worry about views. Worry about your message. We have an opportunity right now to really control our own narrative. When have we ever had that opportunity in the world? Of course, there's been opportunity, but not as pertinent as it is now. So yeah, I got a whole lot to say about that. So yeah, I'll shut up now.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting that you do bring that up, because I think so many times, especially as millennials, that we just get into our bubble where we think we put so much stock onto Twitter or social media or Instagram or all these platforms, thinking that, and especially the voices that you hear on those platforms, thinking that they are the majority. But you're right, not a lot of people are on social media. Right,
man.
Yeah,
no. So I mean, and you're exactly right. Not everybody's on social media. Not everybody's on the internet. So if you focus on like not my saying, but what I like to say, my vibe attracts my tribe. You focus on building your tribe and imprinting, like making an imprint. Imprinting by definition meaning like be one of the first people that like people will actually see. Like when a baby is caught up by the mother and the baby looks into this mother's eyes and that mother makes an imprint on that child is forever like tied to that mother because she made an imprint. So that is how we as content creators, we as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, infopreneurs, we have the opportunity to imprint on people. Like, how many people wake up in the morning with problems, with real issues, with real depression, or it could even be about school or academics, and they wake up in the morning looking for the answer, and you could be the answer to what they're looking for. And when you made an imprint on them, and they are forever loyal to you as you build your community and build your tribe. That's how you get the Grant Cardones and the Gary V's, because they just went over time and just imprinted on so many people that they feel like, oh man, Gary V changed my life. I mean, he said something that really stuck with me, and they just stick with him. So that's how you got to do it over time. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to follow up with that,
go ahead, Jay.
Eliseo, just you talk about purpose and you talk about leaving the imprint. For people who feel like they haven't necessarily discovered what their purpose is, but they feel like maybe right now there's a calling for them to follow their dreams and do it on social media, because most of everything is done through social media. Most people are trying to start their businesses through social media.
Yeah.
How would you describe your process of starting? Was it a calling, or did you kind of feel like this is my purpose and this is what I'm going to do? Because you do a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, like as far as starting, so, I mean, when it comes to that, for me, it's like, I don't want to take the question too far, but for me, I didn't even necessarily think about starting. I just, like I said before, I've always been a content creator because I always like to document my processes or my experiences. So as it relates to somebody starting, is really just how much of your experience or your journey that you want to document and that you want to basically share with the world, right? And as you begin to say, well, see, I think people get their head caught up in the whole content creation or the social media, but when really we just reduce it to the least common denominator, is basically, like I said before, you're just sharing and documenting your experiences and your journey. So once you make a decision that I don't mind sharing my experiences, I don't mind documenting and sharing my journey with the world or other people, then you just have to think, how much of that do I want to share? And then how do I want to share it? Do I want to share it on this platform, that platform? And then once you begin to share it, then you have to look at that and be like, well, what are people gravitating to? Did they like it or did they not like it? Or you can survey your audience. Hey, you guys been following me, right? Hey, what would you like to learn from me? Or what do you think I have of value that you could get from me? And they'll begin to tell you what they want to hear from you. Hey, well, we want to hear more of this. Oh, we like when you do this. We like when you do that. So to answer your question more specifically, I would say, start putting out content, or like I said, I don't want to say content. Start sharing your journey, start documenting your processes and things like that, and then begin to pay attention to what people gravitate to, and then double down on that and do more of that, and just allow your content to form legs of its own kind of, and then begin to build your audience and authentically that way.
I think what you stated was profound. I really love, and I'm actually going to write that down. It's like, and really check myself when it comes to like vanity metrics, because when you do have a team, when you are trying to create, you do start measuring. Like it's like, I think what you were alluding to is before you become, whether you're documenting your experience or sharing your experiences on social media, you got to figure out your why, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to a guy called Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, is a motivational speaker, and he talks about that all the time, about why are you doing this, and if you're getting into things for the wrong reasons. And I know Giovanni found a tweet this week, and we wanted to really discuss it as a group as far as talking about labels. So go ahead, Jay. I do have the tweet up.
Yeah, for sure.
You.
Okay, you have the tweet. Okay, great. Okay, so this is a tweet posted by a well, she says she doesn't want to go by a title, so we're just going to say Meek University. But she has a great following, and she helps people make money on social media. So she wrote on Instagram, once you add a title to your name, people look at you in a different light. Just call me by my name. I posted it on my Instagram, and I kind of said the same thing, like, yeah, I'm cool with Just Giovanni, which is also my Instagram handle. And there were kind of back and forth conversations between people who were opposed to it. Like, no, actually, I want the title because I earned it, and I'm not afraid of what comes with it. And then, of course, there are other people who are saying, well, I don't need a title because, I mean, Christians, it may be because God is the author of my life. I don't need a title, or I don't need a title because it doesn't define who I am. And so the question for you, how important, or is a title important for you? How many titles do you have?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Psh. Yeah, I may not be the perfect person for this question because I completely 100% side with the original tweet. Listen, and over the last year or so, I've been on my own search, all my soul searching, as far as it relates to how people engage with me, how they respond to me or not when I be on some power. I wouldn't even say power trip stuff, because the other response was valid too. She said, well, I earned that title and I deserve it. Right. But for me and my experience, right. For me and my experience, and this was a hard pill for me to swallow, but it was powerful for me. For my experience, I love to basically undersell and over deliver, right? That's me. When I started doing that, my life changed. What I mean by that is, I'm not finna go in the room. My name is Dr. Bishop, whatever, high from the fifth echelon way, right? Because now I have a responsibility at that point. Once I come in there like that, now I have a responsibility to manage people's expectations, right? I'm huge on managing people's expectations. That was another concept that changed my life. Nobody ever told me that. I just kind of figured that out in my own time. It's like, Eliseo, people have expectations of you, and they have these expectations of you because of you, the way you present yourself. So I said, well, let me dial it back some, right? Let me start underselling and over delivering. So I don't go into the meeting with everything I can do, right? Because guess what? The people who know I'm dope, they will be attracted to me. The people who know what I can do, they will come, right? But the part of managing people's expectations is so powerful, because now I can sit back and be more strategic in my relationships, my business partnerships, my deals. I can be more strategic because I'm basically like telling people, hey, like, I don't care about your money. I don't care about the title, which I really don't. And I think if more people took that approach, especially on social media, now maybe in personal interactions, that's a different thing. But on social media, people, it's kind of go back to that saying, people don't really care about what's that saying? Like, they don't care about what you know until they know how much you care, right? That's true.
I always say nobody cares about the labor pains, they just care about the baby.
So I know me personally, just imagine if you know the work you put in, y'all know the books y'all read, y'all know the money you're saving, y'all know the things that you're doing or whatever you're doing for your personal goals. Y'all know that. We don't know that, but y'all know that. So just imagine being able to not have to, not saying y'all personally, but other people not have to prove that to somebody on the internet who don't care anyway, right? Or not have to show them on the internet, because at the end of the day, if once you start trying to prove yourself to people through your title or through what you do, once again, now you're going to bring on unintentional, inadvertent expectations that you now have to feel, when that's pulling time and attention away from what you should be trying to do, because now you have to sidetrack to be like, oh, well, yeah, I did say I was this big person. Now I got to prove that, and through some crazy way. So going back to her tweet, I think her tweet is genius. I don't care about no title. Call me what you want. Right. And yeah, so yeah, that's my thing about that.
No, I think that's you know, I think for me, I had to realize, and I think we talked about personal growth off camera, but I'll bring it up here. It's like there was a part of my life where it was TJ Legacy Cole, political organizer, activist, where I was so engulfed in the things that I do well that I was mistaking that for my actual purpose. Like no one knew who Ty was, which is my government name. My identity was wrapped up, and sometimes people do that. Your identity is wrapped up so much in what you do and your service to people that you forget what actually makes you happy, right? And I think you know, you don't need, you know, and this goes back to the whole why situation. You really don't need, like, if somebody didn't call me like a podcast, that's fine. But when in certain spaces, and especially when I'm dealing with white media in the journalism space, especially when I'm writing for publications, I make sure, especially when they're interviewing me, I make sure they call me. I'm like, either you're going to call me the host of the Soapboxx, or you're going to call me a journalist. Like, that's it. And that's because, you know, in that structure, they like to undermine you and call you everything but what they are. They don't want to put, you know, a black journalist and themselves on the same level. Yeah. So in that aspect, I do understand it.
Yeah, I get that.
But when it comes to people in general around you, like if someone's like, oh, you know, that's, you know, T's, like my last name is very important to me. Yeah. But as far as like, you know, whether they called me, like I don't think I'm ever going to be that person who has like, you know how people sign their signature and they put like MS with their master's degree and all these other accolades and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's, you know, it's my calling card has always been my work ethic.
Well, you know, right? I mean, you remember what Michelle Obama said when they was like, yo, you would be a shoe-in for the presidency. Why don't you run for the presidency? And her answer made so much sense. She said, I can do so much more for America without being the president. Matter of fact, if I am the president, there's so much stuff that I could not do for my cause and my purpose. But taking, I guess, what some people would call the humble route, you know, the road less traveled over here in a cut somewhere. Ain't nobody thinking about Michelle Obama now, but I bet she getting busy right now. I bet she working right now. Versus having all these microphones in her face and cameras in her face, red taping every little thing, every little decision that she's trying to make. So I think for me, I'm a backdoor person all day. I'm from the hood. So I've had to learn to get comfortable going through the back door, the side door, the window. I don't care. I don't care about coming through the front door. Matter of fact, I would even champion anybody to say, look for the back door, the side door, the window, because guess what? Once you're in the house, once you're in the building, you're in the building, right? And you can keep that same side door, that same back door open for everybody else. Hey, come through, pull up. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain powers that be, the gatekeepers or whatever, they don't want you to come through the front door. So until we get in the house and overtake the house and kick the front door open, we have to get good at coming through the side door, back door, whatever. So window, let's go.
When we talk about your journey and your origin story, like you said, you didn't start, internet's new. You didn't start on internet. You actually started with hip hop, right? You know, when I first met you, I did a consultation with you when we first met. I did research. I didn't know that you was, you know, in a rap group, and I listened to the song and I knew the song, but I didn't know.
I get that all the time. I literally get all the time. They say, Lisa, why didn't you tell me you were that guy? Or why didn't you tell me you work with him? And again,
just for context for people who just for context for people who don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about Trill.
Hey, let's get it.
Back in the day, it's the same guy. Same guy, different spirit, right? So, I'm not even gonna lie. I've been playing that song. No, I'm not locked down.
Not locked down. And that's that shit.
I've been playing it all. But
again, if I go into a meeting as Trill or Eliseo of Trill, the meeting takes legs of its own, right? versus I go into the meeting as just a kind of like a nobody or a low-key content creator. It reminds me of an episode of Martin that I saw, right? And Martin and Gina, they had marital issues and they had to go to counseling, right? So when they go to counseling, the counselor, Gina trying to get help. She's trying to get some answers. But the guy, the counselor, he sees Martin. Oh, Martin Payne. Oh, Martin Payne. And she like, oh, this ain't gonna work. I got to go. And then he's like, okay, no, we'll do it. And then in the story, it does not work. So that's the same thing with all of us. It's about managing people's expectations. It's like Jay-Z said, the loudest dude in the room is the brokest. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we go into meetings, we go into business deals or partnerships, or how we carry ourselves online. Sometimes if we just take the back seat a little bit, just humble yourself a little bit, right? We can just understand that we have something to learn from everybody. I love to say this, even if it's when we need to learn what not to do, we have something to learn from everybody, even if we need to learn what not to do. And I think if we just take that approach, sometimes we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Just sit back, listen, peep game. And so that's the way I do. Like when I go into meetings and stuff, or when I meet new people, it's never about, oh, I'm Eliseo Trill, I'm doing this. It's about, how can I help you? How can I serve you? Because at the end of the day, the more people I help, the more people I serve, it helps me get to my purpose and my goal for the universe to turn around and give me what I want. And that's the key. I mean, if we think about it, heart of service, the heart of helping other people, there's no other way. Let's think about this. Let's be real. There's no other way to get to your goals. There's no other path to get to your dreams. There's no other path or road to get to the life you want, except through the road of helping others, period. The road of service, helping others get what they want, period. And you could fight it. We could talk and we can sit here and talk are we foaming out the mouth? But I'll always come back to be like, all right, well, you're going to be on there. You're going to be there for a while. So I'm going to jump on this road to service and helping people. And I guarantee I 10X you I'll lap you while you still over here trying to do it yourself and trying to look out for yourself. So yeah. Go ahead.
That's cool.
I stand by that.
I do say that because a lot of times, even with what we do with the Soapbox, it's about networking across. So many times people always trying to, get to the person that's this person that's on and,
network up
and even pull down, right? You got some folks that are going to try to pull down, crab in the bucket mentality.
Wow.
But our style has always been, hey, network across. Let's talk. Everybody's building. We could all build at the same time our respective individual platforms. Jesse, I know you had a question.
Yes, I do. So as a content creator myself, my question to you is, how do you go about being consistent? Because it's easy to love what you do. Like me, I love what I do. I love creating content. It makes me happy. I love what I do because it makes other people happy, but I do struggle with being consistent. That's definitely something I struggle with. So what is your advice as far as when it comes to being consistent with producing?
I have a few tips on that. And we all, and let's be real. We all at some time struggle with consistency because life happens, right? But content creation, like anything else, it's like a muscle. Like you work that muscle, right? And you build that muscle for content creation. That's why you have to put yourself on challenges. You have to challenge yourself to be like, well, I'm going to put out a piece of content every day for 7 days, right? And now, just like if you go into the gym every day for 7 days and work that muscle, at the end of the week, you're going to notice that you can put more weight on the bar and lift more. So it's the same thing with creating content. If you give yourself a personal challenge to be like, I'm going to create 7 pieces of content, at the end of the week, you're going to look back and be like, dang, this is easier now. I can just do this more effortlessly. I can do this and I can be more creative with it. Not only that, but E.T. likes to say, Eric Thomas, he always likes to say, discipline kicks in when motivation it checks out, right? So when motivation and all that stuff checks out and you're not really feeling discipline, becoming a disciple of your craft, and when it comes to content creation, then you'd be like, well, it's muscle memory. It's just like working out, it's muscle memory. I'm just doing it because I'm programmed to do it. I'm disciplined. And I was just I interviewed a guy yesterday, and he was saying when it comes to brands, when it comes to getting deals, money, like companies are paying influencers and content creators 6-7 figure deals to create content for their brand, their business. But he said, and when they're in the meetings, the key word they're looking for is we need to find a disciplined content creator, not just a content creator, right? They're looking for disciplined content creators. So once you become a disciplined content creator and you doing it because you know that that's where your purpose is. Another thing too is I want to touch on real quick is when you wake up in the morning, we all have our audience that God gave us. God gave us all our audience. We have an audience assigned to us. We got to show up for them people. Like no cap. Like when you wake up in the morning and you're like, man, I want to create some content. You have to think about who is your content for. I just said the only way you're going to get to your goals and your visions, your dreams is to help people, right?
Yeah.
The quicker and the more people you help, the faster you'll get to where you want to go. So when you wake up in the morning, you're like, I don't really feel like it. Man, that's 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 people that not going to see your content that you are not helping out. So I know with me, when motivation is out, then I think about, man, who am I going to impact today, right? Who I'm going to imprint on today? Who's going to see my content today that it could potentially pivot them or give them the key to that they were looking for. So, I mean, those would be my 3 tips. Be disciplined when motivation kicks out. Also, be there for your audience, show up for your audience. And what was the first one I said? I forgot that quick. I said something first, but yeah.
You said be consistent when you said talk about motivation. When motivation.
Yeah. So yeah, those would be my tips. Just definitely be consistent. But at the end of the day, if you are consistent with it, man, you'll see this time next year, you'll see that you're in a whole different space. And especially with the creator economy, man. The creator economy is real right now. Like it is so real. So you want to get a piece of that for real. Go ahead.
How much?
Thank you.
I want to ask you. Yeah, thank you, Jesse. I wanted to ask you about your personal growth, because I know we saw you were in trail, and then we also saw that you transitioned to Christian rap. Like, how much of your personal growth and enlightenment, or your belief or your faith, helped you in your, not just in your business, but in your everyday life to do what you're doing? Because I even saw on your Instagram you're starting to do like workout. I don't know if they were tutorials, but you're kind of showing more of like you working out and stuff like that as well. Like how much of, and you talked about showcasing your journey. How much of that has influenced you into your transition? Because there's growth, like you said, there's a difference between the guy who was in trail to who you stand today. But how much of whether it was your belief in something greater than yourself influences you today?
That's a great question, and it really is funny. You actually asked the question and then you answered it. So it goes back to one of the first things I said on this show. Content creation is nothing more than documentation. It's showing your journey and your process. So many people hit me up and they be like, Eliseo, dang man, like it seems like every year you're a different dude. Or every year you just reinvent yourself and do something. You go for this and then you get that. Like when I was in Trill, I wanted to go to be on major radio in Florida. And when we were in Trill, we succeeded with that. And then after Trill was over, I started doing positive music, mainly because it wasn't so much like Christian hip hop. It was just that, man, when I was out here rapping about Trill, I was rapping about sleeping with women at one night stands, or I was rapping about beating some dude up that I probably didn't even know. So it was all crazy, just insane rap in my head. So when I got married, had a family, I said, I want to undo that a little bit, right? So let me put some good music out here in this world at night. My kids can now go, my kids can go and listen to that and be like, well, I ain't hearing about that, talking about some crazy stuff. I gotta be like, hey, listen to that. So it wasn't necessarily so much I wanted to do Christian rap. I just wanted to do positive rap that like sent some good vibes out into this world. So, but I said that to say, when I made that goal to start doing that music, I got on Christian radio, and people were like, man, you got on Christian. You went from being on this radio, worldly radio, whatever, and then now you on Christian radio. But once again, man, we are powerful kings and queens. Like whatever we really put our mind to, we can legit do out here. So then it's like, okay, well now I want to like start producing music or start getting into live streaming. And like before a year is even up, I'm already have brand deals with major live streaming companies. I got people like wanting to pay me to consult with them. Like I charge $300 an hour now, and I don't even do nothing but just listen to people. They be like, Eliseo, can I pay you for a consult? I'm like, sure. And really, people don't really want to know the information. I'm gonna be honest with you, because all the information is on YouTube already. All the information is out there. You know what I'm saying? We live in the age of information. We legit, back in the day when they would say success leaves clues, right? Yeah. Success leaves clues. So I always like to personify those clues as breadcrumbs, right? breadcrumbs. That was back in the day when we had books. Okay. Success left clues in the form of breadcrumbs through books. Just imagine what it is now in the age of information. We have Google. So success don't leave clues in the form of breadcrumbs. I always like to say success leave clues in the form of whole dinner plates, bro. Like whole feasts. All you got to do is type in what you want to know and go sit down on Google and be disciplined enough to soak in the information. And you could legit within 6 months to a year time on anything you want to get a master on, like being good at, you can legit be getting paid on that a lot of money if you just do that. I know a woman who is a computer programmer. Kid you not. This is a true story, y'all. She is a computer programmer. She ain't got no college degree, nothing. She has to lie on her. Applications to be like, yeah, I went to this school, but she really didn't. But she's so good at computer programming because she learned through Google, like just doing it, YouTube and Google, that she gets hired for all these companies. And then like a year later, they be like, you didn't go to school out here. And she go, oh, I'm out. And she go get another job somewhere. This lady ain't got no degree, but she gets jobs paid like a quarter.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, she exactly. She gets paid like $250,000 at certain places just to become. And she'll tell you, man, I learned through Google. I learned through YouTube. Can you imagine that? Like you couldn't do that 20, 30 years ago. So that's why it kind of frustrates me. I mean, I'm talking loud. My kids on the other side of this room, but it kind of frustrates me when I see people like legit out here broke. Or legit out here ain't doing nothing, like legit out here. It don't make no sense, bro. Like to me, that's a mental disease at that point because like the information is there, the opportunity is there. What's not there? Like y'all tell me what is not there, what is not present right now for somebody to grab the bull by the horns and go out and literally design their life exactly how they want it. That's the opportunity we have right now. We didn't have that 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, we're the architects of our own destiny.
Oh my Lord, man, where's my?
Yeah, you gotta, and I think for me personally, that's when I had to, you had to come to that realization. There was a point in my life, and I know I don't, you don't know too much about my origin story, but there was a point in my life where I just got tired of blaming everybody, but tired of blaming being raised by a single mom, tired of blaming your dad, tired of blaming ex-girls, tired of blaming schools and relationships and different things, or opportunities that you don't get until you realize, like, look. I think that also becomes a part about, I think, your pathway of becoming a man and manhood. Men build things and men produce results. And so if you're not building, you're a babbler. You see what I'm saying? And so I think when you are trying to curate or share with the world, what you want to do, I think some of the apprehension is feeling that insecurity of, well, I haven't done enough yet to share anything with the world.
That imposter syndrome. Yeah, I'll tell you, my parents, shout out to my parents. They told me, listen, as a man, that my dad. So I wasn't raised with my real dad. He's Puerto Rican. I was raised with my stepdad. He's in the hood, like the hood. And he would tell me like all the time as a jit. I'm a jit. I'm a kid. Like don't even understand like real man.
You know we from Florida. We from Florida when we're using the term jit.
Jit. Yeah.
Shout out to the 407.
and my pops would tell me like. He would just always drop these little gems on me as I was a kid and as a growing up, just kind of hearing it. But he would be like, listen, as a man, the buck stops at you, a real man. And I'm like, I don't know, buck stops. What is this guy talking about? But when I became a man, I understood that. Like whenever it was like financial hardship in my house, I didn't even feel like a man going somewhere else, like asking to borrow something. I would always hear my dad say, the buck stops at you. So if I got to get out here and wash cars, I got to here and cut some grass, whatever I got to do, the buck stops at me. Like I got to get it. You know what I'm saying? Also, they would always tell me like, don't like as a man, you don't be out here asking women for no money. Like you have a lot of dudes that like live off of women and stuff. Let me borrow it. Like that's the thing I don't have it in me to ask like a woman, like especially a woman. You got your own kids and bills. How am I here asking you for money? So I got to always make sure that I got enough money to take care of myself and like take care of my women at that time. Like I'm old school. Like, so I believe if my wife, if she wants to just work for the kids and like be there for the kids, I'm old school to the point where let me figure it out. I'll get the money. You focus on the kids. I know that a lot of guys don't like agree with that. And plus I do feel like we support women. Like, tell my wife, start your YouTube channel, start writing your books. Like she's a multiple author now. She has a YouTube channel. It's like, focus on that, focus on your creativity stuff and the children. And then we go out here and get the bag. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
That's what's up. Listen, we are just for Soapboxx Nation, for those who have popped up honest Jesse. I know Jesse was. I know you said that she was. You wanted to testify, huh? Jesse? I love serious stuff like that. I knew it. She's like, oh, okay, get the bag. Go ahead. No, for those who we are on with music producer, content creator, authenticator, just man of wisdom, Eliseo Way. Content ecosystem is the YouTube channel, correct?
100%. Appreciate it. Yep, that's me.
Content creator. I wanted to get both you and Alan, because Alan is an independent hip hop artist. You are part of Trail, and I don't want to take y'all back. T-Pain said something, and I wanted to play a video and get y'all thoughts on it.
That's the homie.
I'm not sure if you've seen this clip, but I wanted to get y'all thoughts on the actual state of hip hop and basically listen to what T-Pain had to say.
Run it.
Do some different music. We have all the shit that you're doing. We already have it. Lil Uzi Vert is already doing it. Lil Baby is already doing it. Dub Baby is already doing it. It's literally two niggas with baby in their names that's already doing all the music you want. Do something else. Do something else. That's it. That's all we want. Do something else. Holy shit. We have it. We have it already. You don't have to do that music anymore. We have the music already. We have Lil Baby. We have Dub Baby. We have Lil Uzi Vert. We have Lil Yachty. We have Lil everybody. Do something else. Holy shit. Stop sending me this bullshit. And then get mad when I fucking don't like it. Jesus. God damn tap dancing Christ. Do something else.
Y'all driving him crazy.
That was T-Pain giving his thoughts on the current state of hip hop.
Absolutely.
And basically everybody sounding the same. I can't do this topic any justice. I'm gonna shoot it over to Alan. Maybe you have some questions for Eliseo as well and his expertise. But hey, what did you think about T-Pain's epic rant about the state of hip hop and frustration about basically how things are? Everything mainstream just kind of sounds the same.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's so many layers to this. I mean, when we're talking about, for the most part, the younger generation and a lot of the newer acts, I look at a lot of their ages. Like you look at the people like an NBA YoungBoy or a Lil Yachty. Like a lot of these are literal kids. Like they're 21, 22, 23-year-olds. So a lot of the music that T-Pain is probably hearing is also from other kids, right? And you know, a lot of people, just because you have access to everything at your fingertips, a lot of these artists, these newer artists, aren't necessarily going through the process of finding their own sound. They are implementing what is working at the end of the day. They're emulating success. So it's hard to, a lot of times it is kind of hard to preach to a very young artist that you need to sound different when different isn't necessarily working, right? So like, what is the tangible evidence for me to say you shouldn't be doing this, even though this is what everybody is listening to? Like everybody in your school listens to these 8 artists and 6 of them sound exactly the same. So trying to convince someone that young and impressionable, just trying to find their way in the music to do something different is extremely difficult if they don't necessarily have a, like, for lack of a better term, maybe a classic upbringing in music. If they're not around different music, if they weren't raised on different type of music, all you're going to do is make what you're exposed to and make what works, right? And I think that's the biggest thing, is people making what works. And though at the top of the game, I always say the cream of the crop does rise. So the people that are, quote unquote, the biggest rappers, when we're talking about, you know, like, I guess the Mount Rushmore right now is Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick. You have Lil Baby kind of inching up there. But for the last decade, it's been Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick. They don't make that type of music. But at the same time, there's a lot more rappers in that mid tier. There's hundreds of rappers in that mid tier that's not in the cream of the crop that kids see that is a tangible goal to reach, that they can be a Little Durk. You know, they can be someone, all of those hundreds and dozens of rappers, they can be a 2 Chainz, you know, they could be a Little Yachty, they could be, they feel like they could be Amigos because there's more of them than there are Drakes. So it makes sense to kind of emulate that. So, I mean, as an artist, like I said, it just speaking to younger artists, it's hard to kind of convince them to do something different because, like I said, different isn't necessarily what is working on a mainstream level or even in their peer group, right? Kids are making music that their high school friends want to hear. And what is their high school friends listening to right now? Is it going to be more towards, you know, the Gucci lineage or, you know, the Lil Baby lineage, or is it going to be more towards Kendrick, right? It's going to be more so to, you know, the whatever the popular sound is. So I think in a sense, a lot of this does happen in every generation. I think as we're getting older in hip hop, the older artists and the former artists are more vocal about asking what they want to hear. I think as a consumer, we also have a responsibility because whatever music you want to hear, it exists. And you no longer have to wait for labels to feed it to you because we have streaming, we have playlists. So as a consumer, I don't think consumers have as much of a right to complain if you're not willing to do the work to find the records that you want to listen to, because I promise you it's out there. It exists and it's in your phone. And you just have to take a little care and TLC to find it. So, like I said, it's a very layered conversation. But you know, I could definitely understand what T-Pain is coming from. But you know, artists are not really trying to hear that. I'm trying to get out the projects, and this is what everyone who in my projects is listening to. And if that's going to get me out, that's the type of music I'm going to make.
Lisa, you feel like
I mean, that's what everybody is doing.
Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Sorry, no, I was just getting ready to say. I mean, that's life, and that's this generation in general. It's, you know, whatever is hot or whatever is somebody doing. All of a sudden now, grown women in their 30s and 40s wearing pigtails because they saw Nicki Minaj do it, you know. And it's just kind of like, I don't understand why everybody wants to ride the same wave, and a lot of times we don't even understand the message behind it. But that's like
the trend of the high-waisted jeans. Like everybody's wearing those high, like all ladies are wearing high-waisted, like the like all
back one. That example.
Yeah, that ain't the same thing.
Are you wearing that now?
We wear high-waisted jeans because
high-waisted jeans is okay.
That ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that everybody's wearing them. That's what I'm saying. It's the trend. It's popular. Everybody wearing them.
I was gonna say it was the pandemic weight, but we're not gonna get to that.
I mean, if you said like everybody's wearing
not a pandemic thing.
You see how my co-host come at me, Eliseo?
Yeah, maybe.
He ain't gotta worry about this. He's like, look, I create my content.
No.
I gotta bring my drum.
No, that's like okay.
yo, Eliseo.
No.
Go ahead, Jay. Did you want to finish your thought? Go ahead.
Yeah, I did. I was just getting ready to say some prime examples would be okay. The skirts. We saw who was the rapper who had on a skirt first? Was it the Will Smith son, or was it
I think it was Jaden Smith, then Kid Cudi, then it was Young Thug, and
it was Jeffrey. What's his name? Young Thug.
And now LeBron James wearing the skirts too.
No, that was Westbrook.
I mean, I'm sorry, not LeBron James.
That was Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I mean, we can even go back to Kanye was doing. Kanye was wearing on the Watch the Throne tour in 2011. He was wearing the skirt. I mean, but all of these people are being styled by the same people. Yeah. So when it comes to fashion, it's just, you know, everyone's being given the same clothes.
Yeah, but everybody who doesn't have the luxury to be styled by people, we are trying to meet those expectations of what we think is important, or this is what luxury looks like, or this is what it means to have your freedom in your own mind. And it's just like, that's not your freedom because you're getting it from somebody else, you know, or that's not you just being creative if you're getting it from somebody else. So that's all.
Yeah. Eliseo,
No,
who
yeah,
are you
you're
listening
right.
to right now?
Say it
Like
again.
in the hip hop, or you think that T-Pain has you think his rant was legitimate as far as his take on current state of hip hop?
Yeah, I love what Alan had to say. And and there's two sides of it.
Yeah.
So Alan is exactly correct, right? So these are kids. You know what I'm saying? These are literal kids, right? So how can you tell a kid? And to T-Pain's point, we have little this, have little this, have little this. Well, how did we get all these littles if it don't work? Right?
Yeah.
How do we get all these littles if it didn't work? Obviously, it's working, right? So the point is, if a kid sees literally, and these kids are seeing their homeboys blow up, right? You got Spot 'em, got 'em, and then you got all these other guys. They literally sit in class next to these guys. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, a year later, they rich. You got Jack Boy. He don't even got a hit song, and he's like filthy rich. Like you got these kids are rich now. It's like, how can you tell these kids that, oh, you got to do something different? And they're like, okay, well, I feel that, but my homeboy didn't do nothing different, and he rich now. You know what I'm saying? So I can keep chasing this different sound that I probably never find, or I can just do what work, call myself Lil, like Lil Nas X did, Lil something. That was a joke. He said I named myself after that as a joke. I mean, they asked him, how did you get your name? Yeah, he said, how did you get your name? He said, well, I had to say Little because you got to be little. And then who was the best rapper? He like, well, Nas is the best rapper, so I'm gonna be Lil Nas X. Like I'm gonna be the opposite of that. Like he literally made his name out of a joke and still made it, right?
He's like a master troll. If that's his origin story, like he's mastered it.
Yeah, he's mastered it. But to the point, it's like, okay, so like when I'm riding in the car and a song comes on, it could be Lil Baby or Lil whoever, like my family be like, well, who is that? So like all these artists must sound the same if we gotta ask who is that. You know what I'm saying? That's Lil Baby. Okay, next song come on. Well, who is that? Oh, okay, that's Lil Yachty. Okay, well, who is that? Okay, that's Da Baby. It's like, so we all have that moment where we're like, well, who's on the radio now? And then like we'll hear something that just like their signature thing, maybe it's an ad lib or something, and we'd be like, oh, okay, that's so and so. But we all be stuck for like 5 seconds, like who's rapping now? You know what I'm saying? So they all sound the same. So T-Pain can't say that it's like they don't sound the same. They all do sound the same. But now the second side of that is, how far do you want to go as a new artist, as an independent artist, to make yourself sound same? I mean, make yourself sound different, but still incorporate, like what Alan said, incorporate what's working, because you can't deny what's working. It's the trap beats, it's the auto tune raps, singing, like all that stuff is working. And at the end of the day, it actually kind of sound good. But what can you do that's going to be different? Is it going to be your messaging? Why do you think J. Cole and Kendrick and Drake are different? Because it's not that so much they sound different, but they actually have substance to their music. So can you do the auto tune in the trap beats, but can you have some substance with what you're talking about? I think that's what makes the difference, right? It's not so much the sound, but it's the message, in my opinion. The sound helps. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can actually sound different, that helps. But really, it's the messaging that I think would be different.
Word. As always, Joe, listen.
Another thing.
Go ahead, Jay.
I just want to add another thing. Like a lot of times people are saying, okay, there's 100. When you go to the store, you don't just see one brand of toilet paper. You see multiple brands of toilet paper, but they all look the same. You never really know they're different until you try them. And then same thing with makeup. It's multiple blushes, but that don't mean you shouldn't start a makeup company because you think thousands of people have already done it. So I think it's a thin line between I think you can still have the same idea but express it different. Something like that. But
it's like the tire. They say don't reinvent the wheel, right? But they didn't reinvent the wheel. They just make it better, right? Every year they come out with a better wheel that runs better. I just saw a wheel the other day that's airless. They don't need no air in it. Did y'all see that on it? Like,
no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's like I think it starts with an M. Whatever the M tire line is, not Michelin. Michelin. It's not. It's the rich one. Start with an M. I don't know if it's not whatever. But so the way they designed it, it's like all these little coils, and it's like it's like move like a snake a little bit, like the way when it moves, and it don't need no air. So that's the thing. They didn't reinvent the wheel necessarily, but they just enhanced it and made it better. So when it comes to anything, I love what she said about the toilet paper, because I use that example all the time. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, there's a new there's actually a new tissue company coming out every year. They like, but guess what? This tissue gonna wipe your butt, but what is it? Oh, this is eco-friendly. Okay, eco-friendly now. Okay, now this tissue it's eco-friendly and it's scented. It's like all they do is just make it some little twist a little bit better. So that's when it comes to our businesses, whether it be creative or whether it be like more technical, we just have to figure out what's our little twist, our little niche that can actually make what's already popular. Because there's nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun. Everything that's already created has already been created. It's about how we can just make it better and make it serve a specific niche audience, and it'll take off.
That's
what's up. Listen, before we wrap, we definitely have to get to our story, like celebrity selfie. So let's hit it. Let's get it. Yo, so Jesse, what's going on in the world? A celebrity selfie. What's going on with R.Kelly? They reached the verdict.
Yeah, so his ass was guilty, and we was not surprised, but he sure was. Okay, so he was guilty for racketeering and trafficking in his sex abuse trial on Monday, and he's going to, you're staying in jail. Sorry, R.Kelly, you're staying in jail. But I think, and TJ, I don't know, do you have a clip for us as far as what his lawyer's response is?
We have a clip of Bill Cosby's lawyer, which is a double, a Bill Cosby lawyer, what he had to say about R. Kelly in the verdict.
Yeah,
he was like, look, the guy was railroaded. As he said that Gloria already did the same thing that she did with him. You parade women out and you stir up the public sentiment to go against him. And that's what they did to R. Kelly. My client conviction was vacated by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court because they saw the truth. And what we see in America today, with R. Kelly, is an assault on black men. And this is an assault on successful black men who are doing great things.
So what we see, like those R. Kelly fans that are sticking by him, hoping that maybe they look at R. Kelly, or they look at Cosby's case and say maybe R. Kelly can get off. Maybe there'll be something.
Well, look,
do you see that happening?
I see R. Kelly having a strong case on appeal, and I think when he gets to the appellate court and when he gets to the highest court in the land, I think we'll see a conviction overturned. I think it's unfortunate. That this man, even before he was ever brought to trial, he wasn't given bond. He had to sit in jail. We see Harvey Weinstein, who was out on bond. We see the black and white issue. We see this cancel culture issue in America. We've seen it, and we see what's the assault on successful black men who have wealth. And that's what we're seeing today. And I think what black people have to do and fans have to do is say no to Gloria Allred and her racist tactics. We see she went after Shaquille O'Neal, Tiger Woods. She only go after black men who have money and success.
That's heavy because there's some truth to it.
Oh, it's like, truth. It's true.
That's some truth. Yes.
There's some truth, but it's like when you talk about R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, you kind of just, as a black man, you just want to be like.
But let me say this.
Like, all of us black men believe, and it's like, whoa.
Let me say this though. Of course it's true. Of course they got it out for the black man, especially black powerful man of influence. Yes, absolutely. Right. So that makes it even more irrefutably irresponsible for any black man to be out here doing reckless stuff. Like, they got it out for us. They waited on it. Just give me a chance. They salivating at the chance to lock us up and throw away the key. So how you finna be out here? And let's be real, in the black community, we knew what R. Kelly was doing so long ago, bro. We knew he was doing that crap so long. Well, why was we not holding him accountable at that time? When I was graduating high school, I saw a tape that totally the tape I saw, my homeboy was like, "Yo, check this out, man." And I'm like, "There ain't no R. Kelly," and it was him, and it totally ruined my whole like mind for like a minute because I just don't I don't get into porn and all that stuff. So just to see that it's like, and then it's R. Kelly, I'm like, what? So it's like it just messed me up. So we knew that back then. That was 25 years ago. So we didn't hold him accountable all these years, and now that he's in the system, now we want to act like, oh nah, bro. Like, so I feel him. Like, yes, it's true. They have it out for the black man, but so we can't get him any excuses. If you do give him excuses, then it's like, bro, you got to sit in that, bro. Like, I can't help you. Like, I can't go fight for you, especially for what you guilty for. Like, I don't know, bro. So that's a part of accountability. I do have a question for everybody, though. All right. Okay. I want y'all to think about this. If we're canceling R. Kelly, right? He got convicted. He's never going to see the light of day, right? In what I believe. If R. Kelly is canceled, which one of his songs, if they said you could choose one song to keep, which song are we keeping? I Believe I Can Fly. That's it.
I say Step in the Name of Love.
I Believe I Can Fly. Yeah.
Nah, it's I Believe I Can Fly. Yeah.
It's both of them.
Step in the Name of Love. Step in the Name of Love. Step in the Name of Love. Yeah, because to be honest, churches don't want to hear I Believe I Can Fly no more.
It ain't about church.
Man, we tried to dance I Believe I Could Fly at church. They said we will not play that.
It was no. You know what's crazy? I was telling my wife that I seen an article where they're talking about pulling all of his music off of all the platforms. Now, the reason I'm against that is because that's gonna make his music more popular. That's gonna make him like a hot commodity. Like, it's going to make him way more popular if they do that. Just keep it accessible. Let people listen to it when they please. If you try to take it down, it's going to make him a hot commodity. Like, we ain't trying to do that right now.
Absolutely. Listen, Eliseo,
I think it's also that question that you asked too, TJ, in the past. Like, can you separate the artist from the music or not?
I
can. I mean, in some instances I can, but I mean,
I can.
Based upon what he was convicted of, it's hard for me to just be like just willy-nilly free and not think about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, especially with, I got little nieces, man. Like, I can't sit there and just be bumping R. Kelly and just have that bliss. I don't have that level of blissful ignorance. So excuse my consciousness to just be like, oh, I'm just going to listen to R. Kelly and we're going to be. Now, I never stopped watching The Cosby Show. I knew that they was going to overturn. So I'll be guilty of that. I watched The Cosby Show. But the music for R. Kelly, and to know the state, like some of his music, he had some of his sexual predator type of stuff in his music. Like,
but I was gonna say that's what helps you separate the artist from the music. Is the question is what songs you listening to?
Right.
That's the question. Right. Like, of course, I'm not gonna be sitting with my kids singing like you're ready. No, ain't gonna be none of that going on. But
that's in the Legacy Theaters. That's in the Legacy Theaters playlist though. So we gotta make sure we.
I mean, because before you separate the art from the music, you gotta ask: is the art separate from the artist? Like in R. Kelly case, it's not. Like if I found out that a racist like was designing Jordans, like there's no swastika on the Jordan, I might be like racist, but them shits is fire. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. R. Kelly's case is not that. Like the art literally is the artist. Like
he used his art in order for him to lure people, more victims.
Right. It was the worm and the fish. And
he called himself the Pied Piper and everything around him.
Yeah, like he's like, yo, I'm trying to get caught. I want y'all to catch me.
Yeah,
so I mean, he's untouchable.
That makes it when you see how he was trolling, like he was trolling for 20-something years in his music. So when you see that, it's hard to feel bad for bro, man. It's hard to feel bad for bro, especially he's.
Hey, finish your thought, and then we're gonna move. I want to ask Eliseo one more question.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead.
Jess or me?
Alan. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Alan.
Oh no, I was finishing.
I'm done too. I'm done.
Yo, before we hit to our moral of the story, we want to thank Eliseo for being a part of the Soapboxx Podcast. Give him a round of applause.
Yeah, I got you on. I got you on.
I
think you just added me on Instagram. I just added you back.
I did. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we wanted to be respectful of your time. We do this segment every week. Before we get to the moral of the story, my last question for you is, what kills content?
Man, I got a whole video on this on my channel. It's literally the video is called "You're Killing Your Content." All right, and there's many different reasons why that could be happening, but I would say one of the main reasons why that's happening is engagement. So these platforms, they are designed to keep people on the platform. That's the number one goal. Is if this creator keeping people on the platform, or is this creator sending people away from the platform, right? So they have metrics and they have algorithms and stuff to see, like, man, I'm on Alan's YouTube. They know if I click on an Alan video, if I start binge watching his content, or if his video sends me to another YouTube video, they're still tight too. Like, that's good. Or if they see, man, are people going to Alan's YouTube and they clicking off and leaving the platform? Oh yeah, we ain't finna push Alan too tough. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, you have to get good at creating content that keeps people on the platform, right? Not only that, but you have to engage with your people who engage with you. I see so many creators. What'll happen is they have a VIP list in their head. It's so aggy, bro. It's super aggy. Have you ever seen like a content creator and like they'll drop something and then like 50 people will comment, but they only comment back to the people they know?
Yeah, I've seen that.
They like
you gotta respond to everybody.
50 people said, "Oh, that's dope," but why did he just literally sift through his comments and only coming back to, "Oh, appreciate that, bro," or "Appreciate that, homegirl"? Like, but I said that's dope too. What about me? Like, bro, that's literally killing your content. Because what happens is when you comment back to people who comment on your content, the algorithm pushes you out to more people to give you more impressions. Because think about this: if you got 20 comments on your content and you went back and comment to all 20 of those, even if you just say thank you, that's 40 comments on your content. If you were smart and you said, "Hey, thank you. What did you really like about it?" Now you ask them another question. Now 40 comments turn into 20 more replies. That's 60 comments that turn into you saying, "Oh, replying back to that turned into 80 comments." And every time you do that, the algorithm literally opens you up to a bigger audience. So the thing is, on these platforms, to open see, whenever you drop a piece of content, each platform only opens it up to like 10% of your real audience. I'm sure y'all knew that already, right? All right. So the question is, how can I get the platform to open my content up to 20% and then 50% and then 80%? And that comes through engagement. The more you re-engage with people who engage on your content, the more your content opens up on the platform for more impressions, and also the longer the life cycle is of your content. Have you ever dropped a piece of content and because you didn't reply to the comments, it literally died out the next day? No comments are happening. But then on the flip side, you drop a piece of content and you're in the comments engaging. You're like, "Appreciate that, man. Tag somebody, man. Appreciate." You're just having a good time in the comments. And that piece of content lifespan lasted for like a week. You're like, "Dang, that was good." So you literally just bought yourself more time to make more content and still stay fresh on people's timeline, all because you did one thing: engage with people. So I think that's the most thing that's killing people's content right now, especially new creators, is they don't understand the power in engaging. They don't understand the power in invoking conversation and also compelling people to respond and compelling people to engage back with them. So if you can master engagement, you will see a longer life cycle of your content, and you will see a better community that you're building, and you'll see your content go further. So that would be my main tip for not killing your content.
So if you have like a lot of people who are commenting on your stuff, like how do you go about picking and choosing like who you're gonna respond to?
Ain't no picking and choosing nothing. So
if you get like 500 comments, you're gonna respond to all 500 comments?
So all right. So okay. So let's be real for a second. I gotta break it down. I gotta break it down for a second. So everybody's content is different. But a lot of people spend a lot of time on their content, right? I know people who have a content calendar. Have you ever met somebody with a content calendar? They have a content. Yeah, if you're a content creator, you should have a content calendar, meaning you're planning out your content. On Monday, I'm dropping this piece of content. Tuesday, I'm dropping this piece of content. Like you had to have your content. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, so you have to have your content planned out. So if your content is from inception to organization to actually creation to distribution, to redistribution, like repurposing. If you're going through all these steps, and for some content creators, that could be days, weeks of planning, of creating, of dropping. If you're going through all that, then heck to the you should take 2 seconds to apply to every comment who took 1 second to comment on your content. If you got 500 comments on your content, do you know how many people, first of all, do you know how many people wish they can get 500 comments on their content? I wish I could. And then not only that, but brands, they have software to look and specifically target creators who getting high engagement on their content. That's why you see creators that only have like 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers, but they got massive brand deals. It's not because the companies aren't looking for followers. They're looking for engagement in your comment section. So to your point, absolutely. If you're going to take hours, days, weeks to create content, then just take 2 seconds and then reply to each one. Even if you got to copy and paste, appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, what'd you like about it? Hey, tag somebody. Hey. And plus, that tells your community, man, this girl is cool. Hold on. Literally, they'd be like, she just replied to me. Yo, when you give people that feeling, that feeling like, dang, she just replied to me. Oh, she real. Oh, she a real one. Yo, people go to bat for your content. They be like, yo, they start tagging their family. They start, hey, come check this girl out, man. She just replied to me. She cool, man. Like, how do you think? Let's be real. How do you think? What's her name? Cardi B got big. Yo, Cardi B was all personality. Yo, she was personality, but before she like was big, you could catch Cardi B in her comments. She would be having a good time in her comment section. Like when people get to know that you're that kind of creator, you're totally going to separate yourself from all these other creators, because I guarantee you they are not doing that. They are not engaging in their comment section. They're literally spending all this time on their content. They're dropping their content. And what I say is they leave their content on these platforms for dead. Literally for dead, because they're not engaging it. And if you're not engaging and keeping it up in the algorithm, then your content just going to die out. So yeah, to answer your question, if you're getting that much comments, yes, I would reply to each one. Even if you got to hire a personal assistant, pay them like $10 an hour every day. That's probably only like $20 a day, because it probably take 2 hours to do it. So many creators do that. They'll just employ like a high school kid or something, and then like go in there and just reply to all their comments and stuff. Boom, boom, boom. But you'll see, like, if you do that over time, you'll see your community grow so big, it'll be crazy.
Okay. Yo, shout out to Lisa in the comment section. She said Alicia Keys replied to my comment once, and it made my whole life. So, so I believe that. Look, so that's real. Listen, Alicia, I want to be respectful of your time. I know we got the moral of the story, and you got to run. Listen, brother, thank you so much. Yeah. We're gonna let you run. We're gonna wrap up our moral of the story, which is basically our way of kind of putting a bow on the conversation.
Okay, cool.
But if you can stick around, you can. But if you gotta run, just let
I can stick around. Yeah, I can stick around, bro.
All right, hey, show them how to do it. Let's start with you, Alan. Show them what's going on with your moral of the story, my brother.
Okay. So the moral of the story is, if you care about something, then make sure you do the research about it. If you care about content creation, if you care about elevating yourself to the next level, the information is out there. It's all about you grabbing it by the horns and implementing it. Nothing is easy. Nothing is coming overnight, especially if you are someone who has been diligent and creating a space and content for yourself that you are really proud of. So, also don't get caught in the quote unquote vanity metrics is a good term that I learned today. So peace and love. Like I said, do the work, get your information, and of course, continue to wear your mask and wash your hands and brush your jibs too. We'll get into my whole toothache experience.
Yo, yeah, we forgot to ask you about your toothaches and stuff. Giovanni, what's your moral of the story?
Hey, y'all. Definitely, of course, follow me on Instagram at justgiovanni.com. I mean, just Giovanni. My website, justgiovanni.com. Moral of the story, I think it's just going to be to be yourself. at the end of the day. Don't worry about trying to fit in, have those titles and those labels. Just do what you can, do it well, and continue to create and be that great creator that we were all born to be, according to our special guest today.
Word. And Jesse, what's your moral of the story?
Yes, my moral of the story, just to piggyback off of what Jay said, is to be authentic, be you. Don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up in the likes and the views. Do what you like to do based on your passion, based on what you love. And that's it, you know? Fuck them likes, fuck them views. You're going to get them eventually. You know what I'm saying? Just be you.
Word. And our special guest, Eliseo. Appreciate Eliseo Way.
I get one?
Make sure we say it right. It's content ecosystem on YouTube. Content ecosystem. My brother, what is your moral of the story?
Yeah, the moral of the story is right now we have a unique opportunity that we don't know will ever come back again in this form of fashion. So with this unique opportunity that we have in this current time in evolution and history, I say go all in. We have too many examples of people who are just being their authentic self. We have too many examples of people who are just going for it. You see what happened with Fat Joe. He was in the social media graveyards like a month ago, and he came out with one saying, and that saying was basically yesterday's price is not today's price. And that's a good example of how he was just being himself, and that one line catapulted him back to like stardom. And next week he was in the verses. After that, he's doing interviews after interviews. Can you imagine one genius line that you say that you just basically blow people's mind and they start going and make memes out of it and just revitalize your career? So that is the power that we have right now, to be your authentic self. So the moral of the story is go for it, grab this opportunity and run with it. And I could guarantee that you'll change your life and the trajectory of your family life. That's mine.
Word. And my moral of the story is pretty simple. If you find your purpose, you'll find joy. You hear it from Eliseo. This dude has found his purpose and he's found joy. And then you have your passion. And so like, if you're going to do this content creation, if you're going to share your story, then do it and do it cheerfully, and make sure that you love what you do and engage with the people that are following your journey. And I think that was, for me, that was really big to understand and really reinforce that message, to be like, look, have fun with it. And I think at the end of the day, you talked about just having fun with what you're doing. And it's like, you're creating content. This is I know we get into doing a general news show, but it's really like, we're sharing our story. And so if it's your story, be enthusiastic about it. And if you're enthusiastic about it, people will gravitate to you and your message. So, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate Eliseo for being our special guest. One more round of applause for Eliseo. And I want to make sure everybody follows and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Eliseo, if there's anything that we can do as far as the Soapboxx to help you or elevate your platform, please let us know. Any other content creators that you know,
likewise.
Send them your way.
If there's anything I can do for y'all, I love all of y'all content. I've been checking y'all out. So anything that you see that I'm good at, please don't hesitate to hit me up. I find great value and pleasure in helping out people. So just let me know, man. Like I said, I truly believe the more people I help, the faster I can get to what I want to get to. So I'm looking for those people to help. So hit me up.
Hey man, we're definitely going to be offline. We will definitely have these conversations, my man. So for Alan York, for Jesse, for Just Giovanni, for Eliseo Way, we are the Soapboxx Podcast. This is where we pose, ladies and gentlemen. Let everybody know how we living. Peace. We're out.
Tell them what we talking about. Anything. Tell them what we talking about. Anything. Anything. Welcome to the Soapboxx. Welcome to the Soapboxx.